Thrill Seekers, and that song was called We Are, and it is the first song on the first Dementia 13 album, which came out in when? 1985. Here's the back cover. I tried to make it look like there was an actual band. Those are my friends Vince and Sue in a coffin that I don't know who found. I think Vince found it somewhere. And but Vince and Sue didn't actually play on the album, but Vince made the album cover, so he has something to do with it. Sue was Jimi Image's girlfriend at the time, I think. Anyway, some connection with Jimi Image, the singer of Zero Defects. So the song was called We Are. Did I say that? And the origin of the song goes like this. I was a big fan of old psychedelic records, and I had found an album called Behold and See by The Ultimate Spinach, a great relic from the 60s. I probably found it in a Salvation Army store or Goodwill or something like that. And the first song on that album, I think it's the first song, anyway, one of the songs on that album is called Gilded Lamp of the Cosmos. Great hippie title, right? And it's basically a rewrite of Jimi Hendrix's song Purple Haze. It's the same, the same basic three chords are the basis of the song, but it's played in a kind of slower, mellower way. And then I had another psychedelic album relic from the 60s, which I wish I could remember. I've been racking my brain for a long time trying to remember. Maybe somebody out there will know. It was a soundtrack album from some 60s movie. And one of the songs was called Ashbury Wednesday, I think, or Ashbury Morning, I'm not sure, but it also was just Purple Haze rewritten, And then Jimi Hendrix himself, if you pay attention to the song Foxy Lady, it's basically Purple Haze rewritten. So I figured if everybody, including Jimi Hendrix himself, can rewrite Purple Haze, well, I can rewrite Purple Haze too. So I made up this song based around the chords from Purple Haze, and it was also heavily influenced by a song from the Meat Puppets album, Meat Puppets 2, which is the second Meat Puppets album, obviously, called We Are Here. And it goes, we are here and here in numbers, and it's a really beautiful song. I don't know if they, when Nirvana did that thing where they did the Unplugged session with the Meat Puppets, I don't think they did We Are Here, but they should have, because it's really one of the greatest Meat Puppets songs from that album, Meat Puppets 2. So the reason I played that song this morning is two. I'm working on another song, and I realized I'm still not up to speed with it, so I had to play a song that I was already familiar with. So that one was easy because I wrote it and I know how it goes, so I could play it. But then I thought it's actually kind of relevant. And here's the reason. A lot of people ask me about my early days of studying Buddhism and studying Zen, and that song comes right out of that period. I can even tell exactly what I was sort of going on in my mind at the time, and I believe I had just started doing Zazen. So if the album came out in 85, it was probably recorded in 84, maybe 84, early 85. So that would have been, I would have been pretty brand new into the Zen thing. I would have met Tim McCarthy, my first teacher, in 1983, I think, and was practicing Zazen by then. I'd also taken LSD and read a lot of books on Eastern spirituality. I'd read Autobiography of a Yogi, probably a few Krishnamurti books, certainly Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, and Three Pillars of Zen, and all these Zen books were going on, and all this sort of meditation I was doing was going on. So I want to kind of dissect the lyric, because it might be useful to people who are also kind of in the position I was when I was first starting. So the first lines, which I don't know if you could hear it, that by the way, I played the guitar live. The vocal was pre-recorded, but I was kind of lip-syncing along with it, so that's cheating a little bit. Every time you see me doing one of these songs on these videos, I am playing at least one part of the song live, and then for the last month or so, all of the rest is also me. I used to use backing tracks and things I'd find on the internet. Now I'm just making them myself, so it's all me. So there you go, just in case you wondered. So the lyric goes, "Morning light crackles from the sky. We don't know where we have been, but we are here. Oh yes, and we are here. We are one in a million, one of us here and another one on the way. And that the morning light crackles from the sky bit is Buddha's enlightenment experience when he saw the morning star. So the morning light I'm thinking of when I wrote that wasn't the sun coming up, but the, I guess, Venus rising, which has supposedly triggered Buddha's enlightenment. We don't know where we have been is more of a reference to myself. Like, I don't know where I come from, but I am here. But we are here. I'm saying it to the audience. We are here. And when I say we are one, that's obviously, where that comes from. That's a whole, the trip in Buddhist and Vedanta philosophy and all these other Eastern philosophies say we are one. But I followed it up by saying one in a million, meaning we are one and we are also individuals. So I was kind of learning these concepts. One of us here and another one on the way is a reference to reincarnation. I'm here and then when I die, I get reincarnated. This is stuff I was learning at the time. No one is looking, we can see. This is the next verse, which I didn't put in the part that I just played for you, but I will put the song at the end so you can hear the whole thing if you want. I'll put the version that's on the record at the end, so you can play along or listen along. No one is looking, we can see the light that is streaming from within. Pretty obvious stuff. And we shall know, oh yes, and we shall know. This is my anticipation of, I'd read 3 Pillars of Zen and the idea of having an enlightenment experience. We shall know, oh yes, and we shall know. We are here by the millions, a million of us here and another million on the way. It basically is a recapitulation of the first line, but that we are here by the millions is actually almost a direct cop from the Meat Puppets song. I think it says here we are here, and here in numbers. So anyway, so I just stole that. Last verse goes, solar light hits me and it gleams, but the glare is much stronger than I see. I think I'm trying to say that things are bigger than I can perceive them being. And here we are, oh yes, and here we are now, that's the next line, we are the now, and then the last line is the embarrassing one, when we have seen, we shall surely hear the ringing of the bell. And that one I kind of wanted to avoid talking about, but then I thought I should talk about it. That line is, as I say, embarrassing to me these days because it was based on an experience I'd had maybe a little bit before writing the song, where I was walking around the campus of Kent State University and a bell rang. It wasn't I don't know if it was a bell to indicate end of classes. I think no, it wasn't. It was more like a church bell, like ding, 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 that rings 12 times when it's 12 o'clock and 11 times when it's 11 o'clock, whatever. And hearing that, I suddenly felt like, oh, I can see another dimension of that. And I remember walking around campus like an idiot going, bell, 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 because the sound of the bell and the bell itself were one and the same, and I was like, whoa, great insight. And I'd been reading, as I said, the 3 Pillars of Zen, which is a book by Philip Kapleau, which has a lot of enlightenment experiences written in it. Different people recount their experiences of awakening, and a lot of them are triggered by big sounds like a bell ringing or something like that. There might have even been a one in the book with a bell ringing as the trigger for the guy's enlightenment. I don't know. But, and I read the stories about, I wish I could remember, one of the famous Zen masters, was it Hyakujo? I don't know. One of the famous Zen masters, or no, it's not Hyakujo. Anyway, I can't remember. One of the famous Zen masters is living alone in a hut, and he's sweeping up his front porch, as it were, and he hits a pebble, and the pebble goes and hits a tile and makes a dunk sound, and he gets enlightened by that sound. So, I was thinking of things like that I'd read in the Buddhist literature, and I remember I went to Tim going, oh, I had this great experience. Tim was my first Zen teacher, and I had this great experience. I heard the bell, and it was like the ringing was, the ringing was the bell, and the bell was the ringing, and I was the ringing, and blah, 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 and everything I was saying to him. And I was kind of, I don't know if I said to him point blank, like, is that an enlightenment experience? I might have said that. I certainly was implying that. And he said something like, oh yeah, that happens a lot at the beginning of practice, those kind of experiences. And I was like, Okay. And what's weird is now these days, doing what I do for a living, I find myself doing that same thing for people. People will write me an email, or they'll come to me in a dokusan, like a one-on-one meeting with me at a retreat or something, and they recount to me their fabulous experience that happened. And I usually end up saying some variation on what Tim said. Yeah, that's something that happens. It's fairly common, and especially at the beginning of practice, it can get very exciting, and you can have these sort of wonderful experiences that feel like insight. It's not that there's no value. I hate double negatives, so I'm trying to avoid that. There is value. There can be value to these experiences, and they can be really nice. And my experience, the one I just told you about, did have some value to me. It helped me kind of keep going on the path, and it was kind of a little bit of confirmation that, yeah, there was something to this practice, because, I'd been doing a lot of meditations, and then all of a sudden I have this, this experience of something, of this kind of feeling of, being one with the bell and all that stuff. But it's not enlightenment. It's not Kensho or Satori in the classical sense. Those experiences are different, and it's difficult to say how they're different, but one way in which they're different is you don't have to ask anybody about it. Like, basically, a kind of rule of thumb for enlightenment experiences is, if you have to ask somebody whether it was an enlightenment experience or not, then it's not an enlightenment experience. And then the experiences, when they actually happen, and Tim gave me some clues, and I've talked about him in books, I've talked about him on this YouTube channel, and Nishijima Roshi gave me some clues as to what it's like, and it was saying things like, it's an experience that takes place outside of time, and it's the same experience as the Buddha had, and it is more you than you could ever be. That's what Tim said. And Nishijima Roshi said, I saw that I extend throughout the universe. And the experience I had wasn't like that. Now, of course, there are experiences you can have that fit those criteria, and probably also aren't enlightenment experiences. So anything that feels too special is probably not it. If it feels too special, because the enlightenment experience, what's interesting about it is on the one hand, from the point of view of not having had it, it is extraordinary, like beyond extraordinary, like super extraordinary, right? But on the other hand, it's totally ordinary. It's totally ordinary. It's the most ordinary thing that ever happened in your entire life, is that moment when you found yourself looking through the eyes of the universe. There's my thing. I'll just tell you that. That's, for what that's worth. And since I brought him out here, I ought to do a little show and tell before we end. Here is the second Dementia 13 album, called Mirror Mind. And again, that's another Zen reference. Mirror Mind, mind like a mirror. Vince Rancid did the cover. Was I holding that the right way up? It's supposed to be like that. Mirror Mind. Okay. And then Vince Rancid, my friend who's on the back cover of the first album, also did the cover of that. Here's the album, the most famous album that Zero Defects appeared on, maybe about a year before the first Dementia 13 album. It's called Peace, War. And it was put out by the guys from MDC, and they put our song Drop the A-Bomb on Me on it. And then here is a record called The New Hope, which I don't remember Star Wars using the subtitle The New Hope back then, because this came out in, 1982 or so, and maybe 83. So maybe that's where they got the title. I'm not sure, but I never got any Star Wars reference, but Zero Defects is on this. This is a reissue. I have the original somewhere, I think, but I couldn't find it, so maybe I'd lost it. And then finally, this is a bootleg that I found in, I think I found this in England. It's some European label put it out, and without our permission or anything, but it's got all the Zero Defects demos that we did. I don't know where they got them, but they put them out on a record. So there you go. So anyway, that's it. So if you want to support me doing more music and doing these things, and also buying dog food and human food and paying off the house, you can go to the URL you're seeing on the screen below, which is hardcorezen.info/donate. That is hardcorezen.info/donate. Your donations are my main means of support. It really is far and away a bigger means of my support than book royalties or speaking fees or anything like that. But as always, if you don't want to pay, you don't have to pay. You don't even have to make an excuse. You just take it for free, because I offer it for free. Anyway, we will see you next time. Have a good time all the time. I'll get a cameo by Ziggy, and then I will splice the Dementia 13 song into the end of this video if you want to stick around and listen to it. So, we'll see you later. Bye. There's Ziggy. He's hiding under the table because we had a thunderstorm this morning. And he's been hiding under the table ever since the thunder and lightning happened. So there he is.